I know this is timely because it is heavy, and I know how the Lord speaks. When it's heavy, that's Him. I'm getting louder with the pressing it upon my spirit or the urgency. Um, I don't know what it is, what action you're thinking about doing, but don't. Don't find yourself creating a Ishmael situation when you were told and instructed to wait for Isaac. This can look like a number of things. This can look like you are ready to just go ahead and call it quits in your marriage and you know God told you to stand. You are ready to reach out to your husband and you know God told you to be still. You are ready to just make a move, but there's some hesitation. That hesitation is Holy Spirit with your donkey in a road and your red flags. Do not create an Ishmael because you're tired of waiting on God. Do not create an Ishmael because you feel like you need to help God. I get it. There are messages that are out that are saying, God is waiting on you. That's why it hasn't happened yet. God is waiting on you. Granted, those instructions do apply, but the enemy is trying to manipulate this situation to deceive you as a false angel of light and come in and speak to you in a way that Holy Spirit would speak to you, is to get you out of position. Okay? This particular thing, and whatever your thing is, you know what it is because it's the first thing that dropped into your spirit. That thing that you're thinking about reaching out, you're thinking about calling it quits, you're thinking about just walking away from it all, whatever that looks like. That thing right there, wait on God. Don't go ahead of God. Don't feel like, oh, well, me and my spouse, I know God has been speaking restoration and we've been in no contact, but I feel like I should go ahead and reach out. What's the last instruction God told you to do? That's the one He's expecting you to be obedient in. Take this back to God to make sure this is your word. But I feel it so heavy that somebody out there, you, yes, you, who are going to scroll past this video and you feel this a little bit of conviction because it's ruffling your feathers, you are about to create an Ishmael situation, and that hesitation you feel is the impression of Holy Spirit, like, don't do it. Don't make this move. Don't reach out. Don't get ahead of me. Don't get up from my feet from the last thing that I told you to do. I think where a lot of people get tripped up is we hear these messages and they may be corporate messages that apply to others, but every message you hear does not apply to you. So if you came across a message or you've been seeing everywhere, God is waiting on you, He's waiting on you, He's waiting on you. That may be someone else's word. That may be your word for another season. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That may have even been your word for a previous season. But where you're currently at, God is not waiting on you. You are supposed to be waiting on God. Do not forfeit what you've been waiting for, what you've been standing for, what you've been in expectation for. Like, you didn't go through all of that for nothing. You didn't suffer for nothing. You didn't lose all that sleep and all those years of crying and fasting and warring and petitioning God. Like, your stand was not in vain. So don't get to the point. That's how you know, like, your breakthrough is right around the corner, because all of a sudden you feel the need. Maybe this hasn't happened yet because God is waiting on me. Do not fall for that. Do not fall for that, because when it is that big breakthrough, now granted, God is God who blesses us all. But when it comes to those promises of God and that breakthrough, you are waiting on God, my friend. He's not waiting on you in this particular situation here. If you were about to text a man, put the phone down. Delete the text. Don't even send it. If you were about to, just go ahead and be like, I got to get this off my heart. And I need to say this because it's going to make me feel good. Here's the thing. And I have learned this one too many times. When we do that, that's us kind of vindicating ourselves. And when we do that, God is like, because you put your hands in it, I'm going to take my hands out. Because you saw fit to have some type of temporary relief and temporary satisfaction, I'm going to pull back. What I was going to do in this situation, I'm no longer going to do, because it's not going to be both of our hands in it. And I've shared this before. That's one of those situations where, God shares His glory with no one. There are times we are supposed to partner with God and tag team with the Holy Spirit, and He'll let us know which way to go and what to do and what not to do. And then there are those other times where God is like, wait, I go ahead of you, or this fight belongs to me, this battle belongs to me, victory is already yours, like, I will fight this battle for you. Do not get ahead of God. Your impatience, rebuke that spirit of impatience. Come out of agreement with that spirit of impatience. That impatience, that you moving in haste. Here's the thing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. One way, because I get a lot of questions, well, how do I know if it's God? And how do I know if it's me? And how do I know if that's the enemy? When it's God, it's not haste. You will not be moving. It doesn't feel forced. Like, oh, I feel like I got to hurry up and reach out. I got to hurry up and do this. I got to hurry up and make this call. I got to hurry up and make this decision. God doesn't do anything in haste. So when it's God, it just flows. There's no pressure with it. There's a flow with it, okay? So if you ever feel like, I get it. Sometimes it's like, well, I feel like I need to reach out and God won't kind of let up on this thing. Sometimes that is your instruction, but this is why, y'all, it is so crucial and so vital to have discernment and to have wisdom. When it is God, God does not speak just one time. God is a God of repetition. He will continue to speak it. And when he speaks it, there's a peace with it. Even if it's something that you don't want to do, there's still like a trust that comes along with that feeling as well. Before you start getting all up in a frenzy, well, how do I know? How do I know? How do I know? The only way to know these things is to continue to walk with God, is continue to get closer to God, to consecrate yourselves, to stay in his face, to stay at his feet. The only way I know these things or others that he's entrusted to speak about him, thank you, Holy Spirit, to be his mouthpiece and hands and feet on the earth, is because we've gone through a process of dying to ourselves. We've gone through a process of the Lord circumcising our inner ear, our spiritual ear, so we can hear him. We've gone through a process where he now trusts us to be his mouthpiece. We don't say the things that are popular, that are sexy, that are trending. If it steps on toes, if it ruffles feathers, when you're in the vein, you're just worried about saying what God has put in your mouth to say, okay? So God will speak in repetition, and it's not just a one-time thing, and you're like, I think I heard God, but maybe he's waiting on me, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it. You're going to create yourself an Ishmael. God does not need your help to do the big thing. Like, he wants to surprise you. He wants to wow you, and also to get you out the way. So, again, he is not sharing that glory with no one.